What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we are jumping in with more Destiny 2 news and updates. In this one, Bungie confirm precisely how Solstice rewards are working this time around. Yes, of course, they've made it much easier for players to obtain tier 4 and 5 weapons, where it's possible to get tier 5s at above 300 power. We'll explain what they've said. They also talk about new bugs that they'll be fixing in upcoming patches. That includes that mobility is far lower than it should be for all players right now. On top of that, we'll talk about upcoming weapons for Arms Week, as well as some pretty interesting secrets, or potential future secrets, which have even been teased by Bungie apparently. So we'll cover that, and Bungie have banned a significant number of players from the game following the contest raid. So no rest just yet, there's plenty of stuff to talk about. On the subject of rest though, this video is sponsored by the brand who made it their mission to improve sleep quality, rest and regular naps, and of course it's Manta Sleep. Manta's range of sleep masks have become incredibly popular, and now it's time to level up with their newest product, which is the Manta Sleep Mask Sound V2. With summer days being long and bright, many of us are having difficulty with sleep, and I'd already been using the Sleep Mask Sound for a while, but now we get the V2 upgraded version, which is more comfortable than ever. It features ultra-thin Bluetooth speakers designed with side sleep in mind and zero added pressure. There are even speaker tabs to control the position of the speakers without removing the mask, and Manta have made sure there are no annoying battery notifications. Plus, this thing can run for up to 24 hours at full volume before needing to recharge, so it absolutely wipes out the competition in both comfort and sound. Plus, it still offers a consistent 100% blackout with cooling C-shaped eye cups and adaptive air bubble foam which expands for light blocking and compresses flat for side sleep. So yeah, it's the most comfortable sleep mask I've ever used, and especially now that things have warmed up for summer, the way this thing is built just makes it really comfortable, and you can even remove the electronics for washing so that your mask stays clean and comfy all the time. So whether you have issues sleeping, if you're bothered by light and noise, or just sleep better with music or a podcast, I totally recommend that you check out Manta Sleep products by following the link in the description and pinned comment below. Plus, if you use code Houndish, you'll get 10% off your order in the store, so don't miss out. All of the details and links are below, and thanks to Manta Sleep for sponsoring the video. Now though, getting into the content for today, Bungie say initially, we're tracking an issue affecting rewards for players at exactly power 450 for grade A scores in the portal, and at the moment they recommend aiming for B or B+ grades in the meantime while they work on a fix. Not entirely sure what's going on there, but there are a few points in power progression where weird things happen in terms of powerful drops, such as the slow climb from 300 to around 310. Maybe this is a similar thing, but worth keeping in mind. Otherwise, in relation to Solstice, Bungie say all Solstice gear drops are +1 gear tier during the event, and we'd sort of figured that out in the video yesterday, where players at between 2 and 300 power were getting tier 3 drops very regularly, but above 300 power, that means standard gear drops are tier 4. However, Bungie additionally say, be on the lookout for rare holofoil weapons, which drop at +2 gear tier alongside a piece of armor at the same tier. So if you get a holofoil weapon and you're 300 power, that's why it will be a tier 5. Solstice is available up until August 19th, so we've got a fairly decent amount of time to actually farm it. And I've got to say, this is precisely what I hoped Bungie would do with these kinds of events. To be honest, I've become a pessimist and I was convinced that they wouldn't do this for Solstice, as it didn't seem to generally be something on their radar and they haven't really spoken about any feedback regarding power levels or gear tier. But I think this is a huge win really because, as I mentioned before, it just augments the power grind with the potential of far more interesting loot along the way. And whenever you've got that possibility of getting something much better, it just makes the game feel more exciting. So, quality decision there from Bungie. You'll have to give me your thoughts on Solstice in general. The other thing worth mentioning is that with many of these additional drops being power increases, this is actually a very good time to farm power level as well. So, across the board, whether it's gear tiers or power level, we're almost looking at doubled progress while Solstice is actually active, which is, again, a huge positive. So let me know your thoughts about that down below. Otherwise, the Destiny 2 team responded to a thread that said Bungie either misrepresented the changes to mobility or it's bugged. And essentially right now we are -30 mobility from where Bungie said we would be. So the D2 team replied, we checked in content and can confirm that base mobility is bugged, and we are working on a fix to increase it up to 30 for Titan and Warlocks, and 40 for Hunters as promised. And they're aiming to get this out in one of the upcoming updates. So we're all going to get a fairly hefty chunk of increased mobility when this does get fixed, and at least there is confirmation of that now. Otherwise, Bungie have banned a large number of players who were found cheating during the Desert Perpetual contest mode. They say this wave includes players who benefited from cheaters in their fire team, and breaking the code of conduct including cheating during contest difficulty or other activities is a bannable offense. But additionally, players who intentionally benefit from cheating can also be subject to punishment. So This is going to affect a relatively large number of players in one big wave, which is certainly good to see because the amount of cheating in the game right now, both in PvE and PvP, is just ridiculous. There are also a lot of players who have cheated their way to max power, right? Because they can do all kinds of crazy things inside of activities to essentially clear them immediately. I feel like at this point in the game, Bungie aren't really going to improve anti-cheat, but it's at least positive to see them banning more players who are caught doing it, so let me know your thoughts about that. Otherwise, Destiny the game confirmed that Arms Week will return in the future. I'm anticipating we'll probably get another event just before Ashen Iron, or perhaps shortly after. There are 2 other weapons outside of Ribbontail and the Fenutria Ferra that are currently in the database. One of them is the sword that, yes, it was advertised on the pop-up card for Arms Week. And this is a solar wave sword frame. You can see the perks for it on the screen right there as well. The other weapon though is the Trechinus or Trechinus, I don't know how you say it, but that's a rapid fire slug shotgun. Comes with stasis damage. Again, you can see the perks on screen. I do have a separate video that goes over all of the perk rolls on these, but seems likely that this will be the next 2 featured weapons that we get for Arms Week. And also, I'm hoping that when Arms Week does return, Bungie apply the same treatment with the tier upgrades that we've had in Solstice. That would be a massive win. Speaking of all the Caldera farms that have been going on, including in Solstice, yes, it's kind of exhausting playing the same thing over and over again, but currently, in the way the game is designed, it's just too rewarding not to be doing it, especially now that Solstice is here. Someone shared a fun fact. A caldera is a large depression formed when a volcano erupts and collapses. And at least before Solstice dropped, a large depression was right. At least in my instance, I was exhausted with seeing caldera. But at least now we have the promise of potential tier 5 loot. Something else interesting though, to finish the video right here. Players have been commenting on the drones that we can spot in solo ops activities. These remind me of the Black Armory drone things that used to fly around the forges. Esoteric had posted a video about these, and apparently Scarrow said on his stream a couple of days ago that during playtests he asked the devs what these drones are for, and they told him that they wouldn't be sharing secrets. So perhaps they will do something. Obviously there are pop-ups on the side of the screen that notify their presence and the fact that they've been destroyed, so it seems like they are mechanically sort of built in to these activities, but it isn't clear if there's anything else to them just yet, although a slight tease there from Bungie. Also Esoteric shared a secret room that you can find in the Skywatch solo ops playlist. It will spawn in randomly and it opens up an area that's hidden in Skywatch that we've never actually been able to access, even in D1. Although I think it was there because players used to get out of bounds into it. And it pops up saying you discovered a secret room. When you kill all the enemies in there, it will spawn a bunch of ammo. So these are either just kind of Easter eggs that don't necessarily mean too much, or maybe there is something more to it. I know there are players currently hunting to try and see if there is anything else going on. So if you discover anything, let us know in the comment section. For today though guys, that is what we have to speak about in this video. As always, I hope you found it helpful, and if you have, a rating below really does help me on the channel. Also be sure to get subscribed and I'll keep you posted with more Destiny content. But otherwise, thank you for tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.